So I just wanted to make a quick YouTube video on some very toxic things that I have encountered so far while working at this job. So they frequently hire in management team and supervisor team, which are supposed to be your bosses. Well, they seem to hire in people that don't have any warehouse experience at all. So you have to constantly sit there and hold their hand and babysit them and do their jobs for them for no extra pay. And I think I have mentioned this before in my previous video. And a toxic thing is that when they do something wrong, you're blamed for it, like it is your own doing. And while trying to get promoted after my last boss had left, because I was doing my last boss's work and jobs for him, they did not mention anything about promoting me or anything because they want to keep me in the same role forever. Not because I'm not doing a good job, but because I am doing a good job. And they never actually cared to admit it. But coming in today and being forced to work a sixth day in a row and always being asked to stay after and give more of my time, it does show that I am doing a good job. And another toxic work environment thing that they do is they completely ignore all real issues that are going on in this workplace and pass them off as far too negative to deal with and cover it all up with toxic positivity, which is one thing that they do at this place. We come in there and we're forced to have to wait until some of our coworkers get there, and we do like this weird morning cheer to provide us with some workplace positivity in the day before everything else happens. And also, whenever my general manager, whose name is Dan, by the way, decides that he's not going to be bipolar for a second, he also engages in this toxic workplace positivity by once in a blue moon telling us that we are doing a good job, like just out of nowhere, out of the blue. Oh, yeah, you guys are all doing a good job. I'm sorry we don't say it more. Blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, right, okay. A lot of my management team seems to be bipolar. And it really shows because one minute they're off the rails and then the next minute they have a completely different attitude. And also, we seemingly get yelled at and micromanaged at the strangest and most random possible moments. Like my manager Dan comes out of a business call, walks straight over to me, sees me talking to both my bosses, and walkies for my boss to go and give me more work to do, and then proceeds to walk off somewhere else. Here come to when I get more information about it, one of my supervisors just told me the fact that maybe he just needed someone to yell at because his business meeting went bad. And also, another few things I want to point out is if our working lives get better when one of our management team or supervisor isn't there, they should be fired. Because one of the reasons that the freezer is so easy to work in and be in all day, even when it shouldn't be, because I'm working in -5 degrees, even coming from our own manager's mouth, Dan, who says that most of the time you have to kick people in there. One of the reasons why the freezer is so enjoyable is because they don't like going in there and micromanaging us. And that is why a lot of us volunteer to go in there, so they leave us alone and we could work without being micromanaged and yelled at every 5 seconds. Products are going to move faster, people are going to be a lot happier, and things are going to get done properly if we're not going to have a supervisor there trying to put his own stamp on things and would let us put pallets up and get stuff done. In one of my new videos that is scheduled to come out next Friday, I mentioned the fact that we have to place the pallets facing a certain way, and we have to enter in the freezer on one side of the freezer instead of another one. Just because of the fact that they give these expensive turret forklifts, they're one of a kind, the first of the kind the Crown made. They give them to people who can't drive them and crash into things every 5 seconds. Instead of dreading to come to work, I instead, that is one of the reasons why I like to come to work now, is because I might be able to stay in the freezer all day and have some peace and quiet. And a lot of the management team and supervisor team here, it would make sense for the fact that they had a good relationship with my general manager instead of actually having the credibility and the experience to actually do the job that they were given for this facility. Most of the managers here seem to be hired because the owner has a relationship with the manager and not the manager was chosen for the job based off of their experience. That's what I meant to say. Because I like you, I think that you're a good person. Let me have you run all these people. And then all these people get incredibly pissed off, and I'm going to blame the people instead of the person that I hired because I have a relationship with them. That is how these owners work. In the reality, the management team should be fired for when shit goes wrong, but they do not.